Our next contest for the Better Photography Weekly Challenge is the decisive moment. Our judge and mentor is Monica Tiwari. Monica Tiwari began her journey as a photojournalist with The Hindu in 2013. In the following years, she began to extensively work in rural areas and the social sector with a focus on documentary and narrative photography. Monica has received numerous grants and fellowship, including the Neil Dongre Grant for Photography, a fellowship from the Center of Science and Environment, and India Habitat Center Photosphere Grant. Her work has also been showcased at various festivals, such as the Angkor Photo Festival, the Indian Photography Festival, the Delhi Photo Festival, and the Goa International Photo Festival. Currently, she is pursuing cinematography at the Film and Television Institute in Pune. Hello, Monica.
Hi, Nilofer. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
So,
So, all right. This is the decisive moment right now. I need to start speaking. I'll just start with my screen sharing and let's go for it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is an iconic photo by Bresson, and this quote is really great. I mean, as is written over here, which I firmly believe in myself, decisive moment is not just about photography. As all great art, it's open to all kinds of interpretation and what you take from it. So, and also not to get stuck in words. The idea is to just understand the meaning of it through experience. I think that stays much longer. That's more powerful. So this is another really nice quote, which will kind of sum up everything we are going to talk about in this call. All faculties converge in the face of fleeing reality. And we'll talk about these following points and it'll become clearer in case there are any issues. The first most important thing is obviously timing. And it's all about practice really, because it might seem like anticipation is key basically. And when you are behind the camera, you, after a certain amount of photographs you take and, you know, and most importantly, photographs you miss, you realize that we have to be one step ahead of the events which are unfolding in front of us. So you have to anticipate the photo and click while the event is happening. Because I think there's a quote by Bresson, I'll just paraphrase it. It says that if you see the event happening in front of you while you're looking at the viewfinder, you've already missed the photograph. It means that you, by the time the thing is happening, you need to be clicking it rather than witnessing it. So that's how timing is important. Maybe I'm better with visuals clearly than words. So I'll move to the visuals. This is the photograph you guys have used for the promotional poster. So yeah, so see, the thing is, I call this photograph as childhood. And see, like, it's a really fleeting moment. I was in the metro, and you're not legally allowed to take photographs in the metro, but you can be very sly. Street photography, you have to be really sly. And these kids were obviously jumping on the rods as kids do. And I just love the colors, and in the sense, I won't wear it for myself, but I just love the colors this little girl is wearing. And look at the patterns. And then she's wearing a pink, magenta-ish kind of thing. He's wearing denims. It's a beautiful contrast. And they were creating quite a ruckus. And this family is, she has a child of her own. And it's not really, I don't think they're really, they might be cousins. But it's not like they were her responsibility. And she was just adjusting her hair, you know. But the way this photograph, the moment I clicked it, the stories we hear is something else. It's like, oh my God, there's a ruckus over here. And there's this mom who's like, oh, so done with it. And she has like two are enough to handle, but she has one more. So it's what you see at what time, which creates the whole story. And I would also like to point out that anytime you click something, the frame, the elements of the frame have to stand on their own, but they have to stand in a way that it brings everything together. So the thing is, for example, in this, if you just look at the hands and ignore everything else, you will see that our eye will travel so much through the frame without even us knowing it. In the sense that if you just go through this hand, then come to this hand, then this leg, then again to this hand, and you keep traveling. There's a hand over here, there's a hand over here, there's a hand over here, and over here. So throughout the frame, left to right, we can travel just by following the hands. And it's all about the timing, because I'm sure that 1 second before or after, I would not have got this arrangement in any way. Yeah, because this is a very fleeting gesture. This is all of these are very fleeting gestures, and it was the exact moment when you click it. I don't think I have many photos before and after this, because I had to shoot it very quickly. With children, you always do. And in fact, it's a very good practice to work with children and animals because they are so spontaneous. You really have to be on your toes. So yeah, my next photo is also again about timing. This is in Pushkar, Rajasthan, in the camel fair. Now this is a young camel, so he was like really full of energy, and I find this photo quite funny. That was the intention as well. See, it's just a camel herder. He's trying to tame him, and there's a camel herder behind him, and this guy, he's here with a stick. Obviously, I mean, I hate that, but they have to do what they do. And it's really, I mean, like, by the nature of this photograph itself, you know that it's a hit and miss. If you don't get it, it's never going to align this way. But also, while keeping one thing in mind in street photography, the idea is that you cannot miss out on the other important elements. Like, for example, had he wearing been any other kind of pants, like, you know, loose trousers, or like any, say for example, any other color of pants, for example green, it would have really lost the impact. The great thing is we got, it's like, you know, like baby legs of the camel. It's a five-legged animal in effect. And also things like the hump of the camel and the mountains, they're all forming similar shapes. And I will tell you about timing. The other great thing about timing is sometimes you just get lucky. Like, this guy is not somebody I was aiming for so much in the frame. He was just a godsend angel. He was just an angel who just happened to be there, you know. And he also like was graceful enough to align himself perfectly over there. So thank you, stranger. So the beauty about timing is you get the shot, and you also have a lot of happy accidents, sometimes very unhappy accidents. But yeah, sometimes it just comes together. This is an image from the Sundarbans, and the context is that the trees are dying because the sea has come inside the land, and it made everything salty. These are fisherwomen early in the morning, and you can see how this is like the alignment which was required, and obviously the little bit of help from the wind. So these things really help you out. Watch out for them. This is in Ghazipur. It's a landfill. Now, obviously, it's the saddest thing. One of the saddest things you will ever see. Children are scavenging in the trash in the landfills, which are so like dangerous, and they sell off these scraps and earn some money. Obviously, school and all is out of the question, but still, these are two sisters. They were scavenging and they found this. They knew it was trash, but they were like playfully playing with it. So although this is a very dreary place, it's a very dreary experience, this little movement was telling a different story, which this all comes by timing. This is again obviously very self-explanatory. It's Dhobi Ghat. Yeah, it was a lot of fun and also challenging to coordinate these two movements in a way that it would make sense, you know. Okay, the next thing is composition. I think getting something is fine, but unless it's well composed, it's just not fun. I really take composition really seriously. So for example, over here, oh yeah, so this photo has a lot of foregrounding. It's a very strong foreground, and it's got background, and it's got a thing. So it's got these layers. What is important is the foreground, even though it's very strong, it's a translucent kind of material. So it's not like it's not like blocking your vision. You know that, okay, it's a sari, you can see through it, you get an idea. So when you have a very strong foreground, it's nice to, the idea of a good composition also is that the photo lets you in, and lets you see through it and what it is. So even if you have a strong foreground like this, try and see that there is a way inside, you know, there is a way. And through composition, you can make things like, okay, for example, sorry, these wooden, whatever we call them, supports, these wooden supports, see, in themselves, if you just focus on them, they're not really the most appealing thing visually. But the idea of composition is to not avoid these elements, to incorporate in the frame in such a way that they don't become obtrusive. Like, I don't think the eye is going there at all as such, unless you point it. Yeah. So the next one, in this, I've exposed for the highlights. The first thing which caught my eye was, this is early morning, this is somewhere in Gurgaon. It's a broken kind of temple, but you see that the elephant is the silhouette of the elephant is what I was attracted to. And then this family and these lovely dogs, they just started trickling in. thanks to them again. And the thing about composition is, again, connecting the frame. You can see this curve, then this limb, and then this curve, and then this like dog, which is just finishing the frame nicely. So things, the idea of composition is the elements should be there, they can be strong, whatever, but everything should be held together strongly. Okay, this is
they should
another
align together properly.
Yeah, they should align, and everything should be held together very cohesively. It should not be like, okay, things should not pull, like for example, suppose this dog was not here. I want you to imagine that there's no dog over here. This entire section would be so empty, right? This is again, this is Bombay. Love the place, it's great for street work. See this entire section. I've used frontal flash in this, which is something I really enjoy doing. And it really, creates a fake kind of, fake separation basically between things. And that's really fun to explore sometimes. So you guys can try that out. So this photo is again about both composition and timing. None of these points which I'm going to say are exclusive. They all have to be followed all at once, and that's just going to come with practice. So you can see that there are so many layers to this. There's so many magnifications of the people. This is obviously the thing which is most, but see, again, as I said, the composition should let you in. Even though she's so prominent and there's an umbrella, you still don't feel obstructed by it. You still feel free that you can actually approach this subject and her and the ship even in the background, which is kind of nicely balancing it out. So so keep these things in mind when you're composing. This I kept as an example of how to create a sense of depth even when there is none. And also how you do not need to show the full thing, because as humans we have this amazing brain, and we complete the picture by ourselves because we are fantastic storytellers just by the nature of the brain itself. So this is Gurgaon. This is a poster of an upcoming project or whatever, and see the poster has a lot of depth. And these cows are obviously in contrast to this scenario. I'm sure they don't want cows roaming around in this scenario. But it's just a nice contrast, and also it's got that separation because of the light and this thing. So when we talk about composition, lighting, patterns, leading lines, all of these things are a given. You have to, for example, in this, leading lines is like, see this cow's body itself, these are leading lines, just leading you. So next is the emotion and energy. If you have great moments but there's no like emotional or something which you can recognize as human, there's no point if you just have like, So this is from Nepal. After the earthquake, I was there, and you can see, I mean, I don't need to explain this to you. It's at a refugee camp, and it's a baby. And I mean, I don't need to explain this. It was very sad, and this is how it is. And the thing is, it's a baby crying and the mother is holding her close. Now this can be a very natural scene because of the context. It becomes so much more, you almost feel that she's clasping the baby for life. It's like, I want to protect. That feeling is coming out stronger because of the context, also because of how it is. This is a fun photo. This is in a hostel, government run hospital for children of migrant laborers. This is again in Bengal somewhere. I was on the upper berth. It was all a very rickety affair. There was hardly any light. I was on a 50, and I think it was a 50, 1.4, and I think I was all the way down to 1.8 or 2, like whatever I could, And these kids were supposed to be sleeping, obviously, but a person with a camera is inside the room. There's no way that's happening so easily. So lights out almost, but I was just waiting for something because, and then this guy, as you can see, he just bent down and he was like trying to like make some things at this guy. So they were having this little movement, and my main subject was actually this guy, but activity around him was so much fun that I was like, okay, they became the protagonists for that given point of time. So I mean, the emotion, you can see that, okay, naughty kids, whatever. So this photo, so energy is not always like bubbling kind of energy. It can also be, you can also show low energy through your photographs. So even this is from Gurgaon. And that place, is very developed, whatever, but it's also very dreary, and also I find it in a lot of ways very dull and inorganic. So this is something we've all like jumped on as kids or whatever, hopefully as adults also. But yeah, see, it's all color and all, but the colors are muted. And this particular kid is jumping, and it's like a downward dive into things, right? And you can just see that because logic will tell you that this is a fun thing, but if you just look at this photo and you have no information, it's giving you like a foreboding kind of a feeling, right? Ye kya ho raha hai? Somebody's like diving into the thing. So yeah, you can create all kinds of emotions, and that's very important. Basically, even if it's a very vibrant setup, you can still get a very sad kind of thing. Yeah, this is again from Gurgaon. I've used frontal flash in this, as you can see. And yeah, the separation I was talking about with front flash, which I find very exciting. This is I would say, a decent use of that. Yeah, it's just like a kid suspended in air. You don't know anything about it, but it's giving you that feeling of, at least it's giving me the feeling of loneliness or whatever. So because of that, I kept this. Yeah, so this is Mahakumbh, obviously. They look like a mass, and it's pretty much indistinguishable. So I used frontal flash here so that I could pop the orange out. And also because I use a slow shutter, so that I can show it as a moving mass. They're just jumping in the river, and it's like water, because the movement is so much, and they're just running into the water, like So yeah, this the energy is very high over here, and I think a little bit of slow shutter helped the case, along with frontal flash, which fixed them also in the spots. That's an interesting combination to try out. Empathy, I mean, this is the most important thing in the world. Empathy, I think, should extend not just to humans, because that's like really reducing your own experience. As humans, or as whatever, as any living being, we are able to empathize with all kinds of life, or even lack of life, and I think that's a real gift. You should. So in this, I was really feeling bad for the hens which were being transported from one island to another, and it was a rainy day, so if it would rain, they would just be covered very unceremoniously with tarpaulin and all that, and they were just plucked out of the baskets and thrown in another boat. It was really very sad. So I came, so I don't want to get into whole camera angle and perspective and all that, but yeah, just to give a small example, I came to the levels almost of the chicken's eye level as much as I could. I remember there was some logistical reason because of which I couldn't go lower. I'm not complaining about that. And I think empathy is important because it helps you relate, and when you can relate, you can really do all of the above things. Like, for example, you will understand timing very well, because if you empathize, you can just get into the other's mind space, human, animal, like whatever, and you will understand, you will kind of predict their next move, which is a great power, honestly. So not just because it makes us better, but also it makes us better photographers. All right. You don't have to always show facial expressions and things. Even we have advanced enough in our communication skills that we understand body language very well. Now, this was a child, her mother was working elsewhere, and she's only 4. And so the thing is, she always wears this wristband which her mother had given her. And children this young, they don't really realize that they're lonely or depressed. But in these little gestures, you might just realize that, okay, she does feel something. She does feel that something is missing, but she doesn't quite, she's too young to articulate, and maybe just become something as simple as just wearing a wristband. But that's the thing I made as the center of this thing. It's also nicely pink, so it's in contrast with the whole overall green setup. Sorry. Yeah. So when you empathize, you also know that you can show a particular emotion in very different ways. You don't have to just show the face or the eyes and all that. You can just understand a lot more because of empathy. A little note on composition. See, like, she's bent down and all, and it's pretty much blocked on this side. But if you look over here, first of all, there's the sun, and there's this is going into the white. So this is like an opening, a clearing. So these kind of things really help. This kid, yeah. So again, with empathy, people let you come really close to them, and they don't get so disturbed, which is amazing for photography and also otherwise, obviously. And a little note here, like, see this line which is going right at the edge of his lip. Had it been anywhere else, it would have been really a distraction. But again, you just arrange the elements in a way that they stop being noticeable. So, like, I think 70% of the frame is inanimate objects, and just over here, there's a human touch. And you can see that still because we relate and we understand things so much just by visual cues, you can just feel that this guy is like being a voyeur and he's checking all these legs out, you know. So also look out for things which are inanimate, they don't have life, but we superimpose emotions which, you know, we feel. That's an interesting thing to do. Notable notes. So yeah, prime lenses love you back. This is from Holi. I shot it for Instagram in Vrindavan. And obviously you have to just cover your entire camera. And I chose a normal lens 50, my full frame Nikon D750 I was using. And the thing about prime lenses is you can just, I mean, first of all, the great masters started like that. They were working a lot on primes. You just have to be really clear about your compositions. You have to go closer and move further as per your requirement. It gives you a lot of discipline and makes you less lazy, which is really required, which we are all are still learning. It's all pattern recognition. So you see this X over here. That's what I saw, and I just composed this. And a lot of people went by. I got a lot of options for this picture. But then this guy in red walked by, and he was wearing white pants. Good for him and for me. And he made almost a cross over here. So, you know, this whole thing came together, and that was fun. So, all right, pattern recognition comes naturally to us. So just like it's with practice, you just get it. I'm trying to get it better. And then breaking the pattern. So this is a lot of feet which were in preparation for Durga idols. Imagine this picture without this leaf, it would be very drab. It would be like, okay, what is this? But then that's it. But this breaks the pattern, and that's the fun of it, you know. This is from my phone because I know the contest is open for phones also. Yeah, I mean, I really like this image because of the whole patterns and everything. So yeah, I mean, the idea is to keep shooting, which I know right now is not the best time for street photographers. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, the idea is to just, and also keep seeing a lot of works by great masters. My favorite, the genius is this guy. I can never get enough of his work. This quote is quite a handful. See if you can get it. But yeah, I mean, the idea is to just keep at it and really enjoy the process. He's a cinematographer turned photographer, and I'm pursuing cinematography right now. He's a genius. To see all of his work, to see all of Magnum website, see so many great Instagram handles like Kosi and all that who shoot solely with the mobile phone. And I think the only thing which matters is practice, experience, and all these quotes will make sense. So all the best, and look forward to the photographs.